The Last Day of Pompeii, The Complete History of a City, Frozen in Time. Greetings, dear viewers. Today we turn one of the most terrifying and fascinating pages of history. Like stepping into a time machine, we travel 2,000 years back to one of the most magnificent cities of ancient Rome, Pompeii. This is not just a historical record. It is a brutal lesson taught by nature to mankind. How did a flourishing city turn into ashes in just a few hours in 79 AD? Why did thousands of people fail to escape? Today we seek the answers to these questions as we attempt to reconstruct the final minutes of Pompeii, second by second. The Golden Age of Pompeii. Before the catastrophe began, Pompeii was a true jewel of the Roman Empire. It was located in the most beautiful part of the Bay of Naples, an area blessed with a mild climate and exceptionally fertile soil. Here, Rome's wealthiest aristocrats, senators, and merchants built their grand villas. The city had a population of about 20,000 residents. The streets of Pompeii were no less advanced than modern cities. They featured water pipes, a sewage system, public baths, bakeries, markets, and a massive amphitheater that could hold 20,000 spectators. People lived happy lives here. They produced some of the world's finest wines from the vineyards on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius and traded them to distant lands. No one suspected that the beautiful mountain they saw every day was actually a sleeping dragon. At that time, the word volcano did not even exist in the Latin language. To them, it was simply a mountain, early warning signs. In reality, nature had begun warning the people much earlier. 17 years before the disaster, in 62 AD, a massive earthquake struck the region. Many buildings were destroyed, and the city suffered heavy damage. However, the Pompeians did not associate this with the awakening of a volcano. They rebuilt the city, making it even more beautiful than before. They offered sacrifices to the gods and believed that the worst was behind them. In the middle of August 79 AD, though some new evidence suggests it might have been October, thunderous noises began to rumble from underground. Wells dried up and mysterious tremors were felt beneath the earth. But the people of Pompeii had become so accustomed to earthquakes that no one rushed to abandon their homes this time either. They went about their daily lives. Someone was baking bread, another was bargaining at the market, and gladiators were preparing for their next fight. The beginning of hell. The ash column. On August 24th, or October, around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the summit of Mount Vesuvius exploded with a deafening roar. A colossal cloud of gas, ash, and pumice stones shot into the sky from the mouth of the volcano. This scene was described for us in the writings of Pliny the Younger, who witnessed it from a distance. He wrote of a column of smoke that looked like a giant Italian pine tree. This column rose into the stratosphere, reaching a height of 33 kilometers. Within minutes, the sun was completely blocked out, and the city was plunged into pitch darkness. Instead of rain, hot ash and light pumice stones began to fall from the sky. This was the moment panic set in. Those who tried to flee toward the sea were hindered by rising water levels and violent waves. Those who stayed in the city hid inside their homes. The rain of ash and stone did not stop. Every hour, millions of tons of volcanic debris piled up on top of the city. Roofs began to collapse under the heavy weight, crushing the people inside. But this was only the beginning of the tragedy, the cloud of death. Pyroclastic flows. By midnight, the volcanic activity reached its peak. The massive column of ash in the sky could no longer support its own weight and began to collapse toward the ground. In science, this is known as a pyroclastic flow. This was not lava. It was a landslide of superheated gases and volcanic dust reaching temperatures of 500 to 600 degrees Celsius. This flow surged toward the cities at the base of the mountain at speeds ranging from 100 to 300 kilometers per hour. The people of Pompeii stood no chance. The moment this hot cloud touched a human body, they would perish in a single second. The temperature was so high that internal organs and tissues were instantly vaporized. Within minutes, the city turned into a silent cemetery. Along with Pompeii, the neighboring cities of Herculaneum and Stabiae were also buried under the ash. When morning broke, only gray ash and smoke remained where flourishing valleys had been the day before. The wealthiest region of the Roman Empire was completely wiped off the map. The time capsule. An archaeological sensation. Pompeii remained forgotten for over 1,500 years. Other settlements appeared in its place, but no one knew that an entire city lay intact beneath the ground. It was only in 1748, during the digging of a well, that the remains of ancient buildings were accidentally discovered. Since then, the excavations have continued to shock the world. The layer of ash and pumice had completely sealed the city off from the air. Because of this, everything, wall paintings, furniture, utensils, and even food on shop counters, was perfectly preserved. Scientists found loaves of bread inside ovens that were meant to be baked that very day, but their owners never got the chance to eat them. This was a true time capsule left to us by history, images frozen in stone. The most moving moment in the history of archaeology was the discovery of the frozen people. During the excavations, archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli noticed mysterious hollow spaces within the hardened ash. He realized that these spaces were the shapes left behind after human bodies had decayed. Fiorelli began pouring liquid plaster into these cavities. When the ash was cleared away, the world was left stunned. The plaster perfectly recreated the final seconds of these individuals. Today, we can see people covering their faces to protect themselves, couples clutching each other's hands, and mothers shielding their children with their own bodies. In one house, the bodies of 13 people were found, members of a single family who had been too afraid to go outside. These are not just statues, they are the frozen cries and terror of people from 2,000 years ago. Vesuvius today. Is the danger gone? Today, Pompeii is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most famous tourist destinations in the world. Every year, millions of people come to see this dead city. But the tragedy may not be over. Vesuvius is still an active volcano. It last erupted in 1944. Currently, nearly 3 million people live at its base and in the city of Naples. Scientists monitor the volcano 24/7 because its next awakening could lead to consequences even more severe than those of Pompeii. What does the history of Pompeii teach us? It reminds us how fragile human life is in the face of nature's power and how quickly our civilization can disappear. At the same time, this city is an immortal heritage of human history, the most authentic witness to our past. With that, our journey to Pompeii comes to an end. How did this story affect you? If you were in Pompeii at that time, how would you have reacted? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel to uncover more historical mysteries together. See you in the next video.